Ready, set, adventure! Welcome to Hikanuki World Tour and to part 2 of our first day in Bermuda on our cruise on the NCL Joy. Come along with us as we explore the Crystal Cave, Swizzle Inn and swagger out, and visit the city of Hamilton. Harbour Nights was canceled, but we won't let that spoil our fun. So let's go! Welcome to part 2 of our first day in Bermuda on our cruise on the NCL Joy. This afternoon, we boarded the bus to visit the Swizzle Inn and the Crystal Cave. Earlier in the day, we stopped by the Visitor Center and purchased a 2-day bus and ferry pass. We figured this would be most economical for us, and that way we wouldn't have to worry about having exact change or the right tokens or know what zones we were going to. We found the bus an efficient, inexpensive, and easy way to get around the island. Buses were clean and safe, and depending on the time of day, not that crowded. We were on Bus Route 11, connecting St. George's and Hamilton. You can easily scan the QR code to find a bus route and what times it picks up. This nice lady sat in front of us and seemed to know everyone on the island. Scenery was beautiful on our way to the Crystal Cave. Our stop included a number of Bermuda's most popular destinations, including the Swizzle Inn, Crystal and Fantasy Caves, and the Blue Hole. If you mention to your driver where you want to go, he'll be sure to call out the stop for you. We exited the bus right across from the Swizzle Inn, but first we're going to head to the Crystal Cave. And next to the walking path to the cave is Bailey's Ice Cream Parlor. We'll be sure to visit there. But first we'll follow the footpath. I wonder why the chicken crossed the road. Walking along the footpath, you'll be surrounded by subtropical gardens. The path is well marked and an easy walk. The Crystal Cave is one of Bermuda's oldest living treasures and one of its favorite attractions. Even Mark Twain visited here. The cave was accidentally discovered in March of 1907 when two boys, Carl Gibbons and Edgar Hollis, were playing cricket. They lost their ball and while looking for it, stumbled upon the cave opening. They shared their discovery with the landowners, the Wilkinsons, who were so impressed with the magnificent cave and decided to open it to the public. The cave has been open to the public since 1908. It's open daily from 9 to 5, with 4:30 being the last tour. Each tour lasts about 30 minutes. There's a second cave, the Fantasy Cave, which can also be toured. We chose just to do the Crystal Cave. There are 83 steps to the Crystal Cave and 88 to the Fantasy Cave. And that does mean 83 steps down and 83 steps back up. Steps can be a bit steep and slippery and are made out of the natural rock formations, making them a bit uneven. You'll be in a group and expected to keep up with the group, and there's really no place to stop and pause. While we found them relatively easy to navigate, we did notice some people who were coming back up who were very much out of breath. So I would caution that this may be too strenuous for some. If you do go, I recommend rubber-soled shoes as the path can be a bit slippery. When you arrive, there is a big parking lot with taxi cabs waiting. Cafe Olé is open for breakfast, lunch, and snacks from 9 a.m. to 4:30.
Hey guy, how you doing?
Pretty good. How about you?
I'm hanging in there.
All right.
You'll find the ticket office, gift shop, and restrooms at the bottom of the stairs. We did not have a reservation, but you can make advance reservations. If you'd like to do both caves, they do offer a discount. We chose just the Crystal Cave. Guided tours last about 30 minutes and are given on the half hour and at the top of the hour. We paid a total of $48 for the two of us. The cave is 72 degrees all year round, so it's a great way to escape the heat or get out of the rain. You'll be given a wristband and directed down the stairs to wait underneath a tent for when your group is called. There is no swimming allowed in the subterranean lake, and we were told there were no bats or snakes. We headed to the green and white awning to wait for our group to be called. The grounds around the cave are beautiful. Just look at these royal palms and this magnificent tree. Our group was called and it was time to descend the 83 steps into the crystal cave. We were informed not to touch anything as the oil from your hands prevents future growth. The cave height does vary, so taller people should beware. As you can see, the steps going down are well lit and there are handrails.
Are there any bats in this cave?
No bats.
Okay, good. No, very fortunate. She hates bats.
Yeah, I'll put everybody's mind at ease with that question. There's no bats, no snakes.
As we arrived 95 feet below the surface, we began to see the stalagmites and stalactites that had formed nearly 30 million years ago. To help remember which is which, it's like ants in your pants. The mites come up, the tights come down. I thought our guide did a very good job of keeping people together and informing us on different information about the cave. He gave plenty of time to stop at different spots for photos. The clarity of the water was amazing. And this is a 55-foot deep subterranean lake.
So just a little background on the cave. At this point, you guys have descended about 95 feet underneath the surface, but we come down to sea level. Now, this cave, it all started in terms of the discovery in 1907. Two young boys, maybe 12 and 13 years old, Carl Gibbons and Edgar Hollis were their name.
Here you can see the underground floating pontoon path. It does have a few elevation changes, but the guide will show you with his flashlight where the steps are. They are also marked with signs. It's very tempting to want to touch, and there was one little section cordoned off where you were allowed to touch.
In this area right beneath us, sir, with the tide as high as it is right now, so pretty much to its highest point is for 30 feet.
At the end of the floating walkway is a wishing well, so be sure to bring some coins along with you so you can make a wish. Otherwise, that wish will cost you $1. Just a reminder to hit that like button and be sure to subscribe to Hikanuki World Tour. It really helps our channel grow. Thanks, we really do appreciate you. After our visit to the cave, we walked back over to the Swizzle Inn. The Swizzle Inn is the birthplace of Bermuda's national drink, the Rum Swizzle. The Swizzle Inn is Bermuda's oldest and most famous pub. It's a lively place with both indoor and outdoor seating. Head upstairs if you're looking for a little more calm, quiet atmosphere. The gift shop is also upstairs. In the gift shop, Swizzle In, Swagger Out, you'll find lots of colorful branded merchandise. The Swizzle Inn was very busy that day, and the bar up front was quite small. The kitschy interior of the adjoining room was also festooned with an abundance of graffiti and autographed bills. Be sure to bring a few bills and a marker so you can leave your mark. The Swizzle Inn has an extensive cocktail menu and bar food befitting the island. But we knew we had to try the Rum Swizzle and the island staple, the Fish Chowder. The Rum Swizzle is Bermuda's national drink, created right here in 1932. A blend of Gosling's rums and fruit juices. What's not to like? The Fish Chowder at the Swizzle Inn is a must-try. My husband thought it was the best of all those he tasted, including Wahoo's, which was also excellent. He thought it was absolutely delicious and left him wanting a second bowl. I tried the onion rings, which were sweet and crispy and also very delicious. And don't forget to add the black rum and pepper sauce if you want a little extra heat. If you go to the Swizzle Inn, be sure to look for the Hikanuki World Tour dollar bill and sticker on the door. We also added our sticker to the door on the outside. Well, we had a great visit at the Swizzle Inn, but now let's head for the Ice Cream Parlor. Across the street from the Swizzle Inn, you'll find this charming cottage serving Bailey's famous ice cream. The parlor has homemade all-natural ice cream in many island flavors such as coconut, rum raisin, and dark and stormy, a Bermuda specialty. We tried a scoop of the Bailey's Irish cream and the coconut ginger sorbet. Both were delicious, and this was really worth the stop, and the staff was very friendly and helpful. And now we're ready to catch the bus again and head to downtown Hamilton. We boarded the bus just before 4:30 in the afternoon, and it was standing room only. We were heading to Hamilton for Harbour Nights, which occurs every Wednesday night from 7 to 10 p.m. in the months of May through August. We were a bit concerned that it might be canceled as it had been raining on and off all day. We arrived at the main bus terminal in Hamilton and decided to walk around a little bit, do some shopping, and see if the festival was still a go. Hamilton is the capital city of Bermuda and is one of the most expensive cities in the world in which to live. It was colorful and lively, and we found it to feel much more urban than St. George. This picturesque harbor city acts as the hub for local and international businesses, as well as having many shops, museums, galleries, and gardens. We came to see the city, but we really came to attend Harbour Nights. Harbour Nights celebrate the local culture and flavor of Bermuda and of Hamilton. The weekly festival features local flavors, island art, and the Goombay dance troupes. We saw many colorful and interesting buildings and shops, but again, the weather was a disappointment. And just as we feared, the Harbour Nights Festival was canceled. Since it was raining, we decided to head indoors into the Washington Mall. It was about 5 o'clock, and some of the stores had already closed, and there really weren't many people around. But we took a few minutes and just looked around. Come along with us as we explore the Washington Mall, Queen Street, and Front Street. And here's the only fast food chain on the island, KFC, which was closed for renovations. And now we're walking down Queen Street, heading toward the harbor. In the center of Hamilton, you'll find a surprise: Queen Elizabeth Park, Bermuda's premier public park. You'll be amazed by the beautiful floral displays, native and exotic trees, a koi and goldfish pond, and even a sculpture garden. There are plenty of benches and plenty of shade provided by all the trees, so it's a nice respite from the busy city. Back on Queen Street, we're almost to Front Street, and you'll notice that funny bird cage in the middle of the street. You may remember that police officers used to stand in there to direct traffic, and they were said to be the most photographed police officers in the world. And now we've arrived on Front Street. This busy street along the harbor is filled with shops, galleries, restaurants, and bars, and was supposed to be hosting Harbour Nights. While we were there were 2 cruise ships in port, as well as Hamilton playing host to the Newport to Bermuda yacht race. So there were a lot of people out and about, even without the Harbour Nights Festival. We found the harbor and Front Street to be very vibrant, even on a rainy evening. This area is known as Waterfront Square. Since we're not the biggest cricket fans, we found a place we like to call home in most every city we visit, the Irish pub. The bartenders here were friendly and none too happy that Harbour Nights had been canceled. Harbour Nights brings a lot of people to the front street of Hamilton, and therefore the businesses suffer when it's canceled. Flanagan's features your typical Irish pub beer offerings, plus craft beer from local Bermuda Craft Brewing. We enjoyed the Harborside Triple and the 64 Degree West IPA. We finished our beers, then headed over to the dock to catch the ferry back to the NCL Joy. We made a quick stop for an iconic photo. We then headed back to the dock to wait for the complimentary ferry, which would take us back to Royal Naval Dockyard. It was about 6:15 and we were going to catch the 6:30 ferry. I just love all the pastel colors of Bermuda. Even the buses are pink. We were hurrying a little bit because we wanted to make sure we got on the 6:30 ferry. When we arrived, we were a little surprised that there weren't many people waiting to go back. Like most of Bermuda, we found the terminal to be very clean and felt very safe. Another ferry was pulling into the dock, but it was not the one that was going to the Royal Navy dockyards. Once on the platform, we found the schedule and found bad news. The 6:30 ferry we thought we were waiting for was canceled because Hamilton Harbour Nights were canceled, and the next ferry would not be here until 7:30, another hour later. So we set off to explore a little more of Hamilton. Adjacent to the terminal was Point Pleasant Park, and the Royal Bermuda Yacht Club was here, and they were celebrating the Newport Bermuda Yacht Race. So we decided to take a walk over and see what we could see. If you're wondering why we didn't try to hail a cab to go back to the ship, we did ask, and it was going to cost over $100 to get back to the ship. And since the weather cleared up, we decided to just hang around the port. I don't know much about yachts or yacht racing, but it was still cool to see all these boats. And it looked like the racers were having a great celebration.
Won't you know I believe in your soul? Rhythm and rhyme and harmony.
Not wanting to miss our boat, we decided to head back to the terminal. Here's the line of people behind us, and here's the line of people in front of us. We arrived back at the ship at about 8 o'clock, and it was time to go in and get ready for dinner. And of course, the weather was perfect. We chose the Manhattan Room for dinner tonight, one of the complimentary main dining rooms. They were featuring some Asian menu items tonight. As usual, dinner began with bread service. For appetizers, we started with the Shanghai pork pot stickers, which were okay, just not very spicy. We also had the cheese ravioli with lobster cream sauce, which was good, definitely better than the pot stickers. The bruschetta is usually a favorite, but on this night, it was a bit of a miss. My husband ordered the Asian-style market fish, which he thought was okay, but nothing out of the ordinary. I had the chicken cordon bleu, and while the vegetables were uninspired, the chicken was really good. We weren't really too hungry for dessert, so we shared the 2 cannoli, which really we would skip in the future. We finished dinner around 10 o'clock, and it was too late to go to the show, so we opted for the casino. And that turned out to be a lucky decision. And with winnings in hand, we decided to go back to the cabin and go to bed so that we could get up early and have another exciting day in Bermuda. We're planning to go to Horseshoe Bay and the Pink Sand Beach, so we are so hopeful that the weather will cooperate. Thanks for joining us at Hikanuki World Tour on part 2 of our first day in Bermuda. Our travel wisdom for today comes from Mark Twain. and I'm guessing he was here on sunny days. He said, "You can go to heaven if you want. I'd rather go to Bermuda." Thanks again for joining us at Hikanuki World Tour, and be sure to like and subscribe and hit the notifications button as we'll be sharing our cruise on the NCL Joy and our trip to Bermuda.